how do you go about finding your equivalent of Travis if there's no one really available in your easy line of sight? And then the second question was, how do you treat the -1 people in your life?
So in terms of finding the Travis, there is always a Travis. There will, unless you work alone, you will always find something in common with people. And it isn't that he's a great guy, but it isn't that there was anything particularly special about him. It was just that, he was the person that I found the most in common with, and I could be comfortable and have that conversation with. So how do you go about finding Travis? Talk to as many people as possible who are your peers, your colleagues, etc. Because it's only in doing that, casting your net wide, that you can kind of draw it in and find that Travis. How do I treat the -1 people in my life? I've learned over the years, I don't gossip, I say nothing. And sometimes those -1s, I don't need things to kind of come back to me. So saying nothing is incredibly important. But my husband would completely disagree. I would say I kind of have a good game face. He would laugh his head off if you can see this right now. But I try and say nothing. And that's been a hard thing to learn over the years because I'm an impulsive Ghanaian.
Okay, next couple of questions. I think you touched on it, but how do you build these relationships while remaining authentic, not trying to fit into the mold, and creating that personal connection? And then the second question is, what would you say one must focus on, delivering to the high standard or building the relationships, or is it like a both situation?
I've forgotten the first, I'm going to answer the second. Okay. Right. So you need both. You can deliver, and bluntly, it will only get you so far. Anybody can deliver, but what's the extra that you bring? And your extra has got to be that either you deliver so much more than anyone else, but you're kind of going to kill yourself in the process of doing it, or you can work a little bit more smartly and invest in relationships as well. So I think that there is a certain kind of person that can get away with the relationship side of things, but not delivering and being really good at what they do. In my experience, that has typically not been a Black person.
Okay.
And what was the first one? I'm sorry.
The first question was going about how do you build the authentic relationships without trying to fit into the mold, so to speak?
I find that really hard. I mean, I'm not, I find it hard to answer. What I would say is that I am, if I think back to the beginning of my career, I was maybe less authentic than I am now. And the only thing I kind of mean by that is a really good example is, say, my hair. So when I was at university, I had my hair in braids. The minute that I started my job, I started relaxing my hair, and my hair's been relaxed like the whole time. So I didn't have I would say that I've always been my kind of, British Ghanaian self, but there are bits of me that I would look back and go, no, was that really authentic? Now, I don't want to braid my hair because I've got 2 kids. I haven't got time to be sitting there with people doing my hair. But I feel really, really, really proud when I see the young women in my firm today, when I see them with every style, because I see that as truly being your authentic self and being accepted as well.
Okay, great. Another long question, which I'm going to try and summarize.
Break it down for me.
If you're working really hard and you're trying to get that promotion, but you're not getting it, but then your inferiors, so to speak, are giving you lots of work and coming to you because you're the experts, but you're not getting that accolades. Like, surely at some point in your career, you come to the point where you're like, is this even worth it?
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? Like, how do you deal with that question, so to speak?
So I think one of the lessons that I learned from the promotion that I talked about was that when I compared myself to the people who had got promoted, by every, and because of what I do, we keep every stat going. So by every measure, I had worked twice as hard as them. Actually, the thing that I did over the next 6 months after that was that I stopped working twice as hard, and I focused on doing, because I think when you're kind of running around and trying to work twice as hard and trying to do twice as much, you've either got the stress of trying to do everything to a really high quality, and that's incredibly tough, or you kind of let the quality of things go. So I try to focus on less is more, rather than more is more. And the importance about the relationships. A really good friend of mine, a fellow Australian partner, and she's always said to me that you've got to back yourself. So, and that means that, if you want people to talk about you and advocate for you behind your back or when you're not in the room, you've got to give them the materials to do it. And a lot of Black people hope that they work really hard and that people notice. It doesn't happen like that. You've got to show people what it is that they're meant to be advocating for. And so that's important. I would rather people worked 20% less and invested that extra time in the relationships and in the advocacy.
Okay, very good. And this is going to be the final question. We've actually had a load of them.
I can't see them on my thing, so I apologize.
No worries. It's, what did you do during the time between the uncomfortable conversation and when you received the off-cycle promotion? How was the promotion received by your peers?
Oh God. Okay, this will make me sound like a brat, but so part of the uncomfortable conversation was pointing out all the stuff that I'd done, the value that I had delivered, and basically saying that I was going to take time off on sabbatical. So I had the uncomfortable conversation, I think, at the end of June. And then I worked for a couple of months and I took 3 months off after that. So I kind of got the promotion, not based on what I'd done in the summer in July or August, but quite frankly, it was the promotion that I should have had. And everybody knew it. So how was it received by my peers? I don't know. I didn't care. I earned it.
And on that note, we're going to bring this session to a close. No, thank you very much for a really insightful conversation.